Hello there, a very good evening and welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlene Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Mariam Gunavijaya. First is a look at your headlines for tonight.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Join the movement for national change. Anura tells the people of Jaffna.
රටේ බහුතර ජනතාවක් වෙනසක් ඉල්ලා තිබියදී යාපනයේ ඔබ විතරක් ඒ වෙනසට විරුද්ධව වැඩ කරන්නේ කොහොමද?
Ranil questions the reforms proposed by the National People's Power.
මොකද්ද වෙනස කියලා මං අහනවා. මොකද්ද කරන වෙනස? මං කියුවා පිටු 232ක්. කිසිම වෙනසක් නැහැ. වෙනස කරන්නේ අපි.
Sajid accuses Ranil and Anura of impure alliance to defeat him.
මේ රටට තියෙන එකම විකල්පය රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ අනුර කුමාර දිසානායක දේශපාලන දීගේ නෙමෙයි.
20 Sri Lankans rescued from Myanmar's cyber slave camp arrive in Sri Lanka. New Court of Appeal judges appointed. New governor for the Uwa province.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Sri Lanka decides. Sri Lanka decides.
Taking a look at those stories in detail now, presidential candidate of the National People's Power, Anura Kumara Disanayake, extended an invitation to the people of Jaffna to join the movement for the change that the country is asking for.
Presidential candidate of the National People's Power, Anura Kumara Disanayake, addressed a public rally held at Veerasingham Hall in Jaffna yesterday. He received a warm reception from the people.
The people of Jaffna should make a choice. Are you choosing the National People's Power, who is striving for a change, or Ranil and Sajid, who follow the same old path? All of you know that the Rajapaksa regime was deeply rooted in racism. Where are all those SLPPers now? A majority of them are with Ranil Wickremesinghe. The other SLPPers are with Sajid Premadasa. Only a few members of the SLPP are left with Namal Rajapaksa. The racist group of the Rajapaksas has split into three. The former chairman of Mahinda Rajapaksa's party, GL Piris, is now with Sajid Premadasa. Is there anything new there? The other racist group of the Pohottua is with Ranil Wickremesinghe. Dala Salaha Peruma, who served as a minister in both Mahinda Rajapaksa and Gotabaya's governments, is now working with Sajid Premadasa. Nalaka Godeheva, who launched Viatmaga to bring Gotabaya into power and spoke against the Tamils in Geneva, is with Sajid Premadasa now. But there's only one party who has consistently stood against racism, and that is the National People's Power. The people of the South are rallying behind the NPP. I ask the people of the North, are you supporting this change or are you against it? Sometimes I feel that Sumanthiran's remarks go against the change that the country is expecting. This isn't just an ordinary election. In 2010, they voted for Fonseka against the Rajapaksa regime. In 2015, they chose Maithripala to oppose the Rajapaksa regime. And in 2019, they backed Sajid Premadasa against Gotabaya Rajapaksa. I'd like to ask Sumanthiran, who are you opposing this time when you ask the people to vote for Sajid Premadasa? Half of the Rajapaksas are with him. So who exactly are these Tamil voters being asked to oppose? The decision taken by ITAC is to oppose the people's call for a change. Do you approve of this decision to oppose this change? I am calling on the people of the North to be a part of this change. Do not oppose this change. Embrace it. Become passionate advocates for this change. Isn't that what we need? When a majority of the country is demanding change, how can you stand against it?
What will happen to the 13th Amendment under government? Anura Kumara Disanayake clarified this matter.
I didn't come to you as a merchant or a broker. I didn't ask for votes by making empty promises. We don't have any underhand deals with the South to secure the votes of the Tamil people in Jaffna. Many southern politicians have a deal with the North. They are asking for votes promising for the 13th Amendment and 13 plus in return. They are promising land rights. How long have they been saying these things? I didn't come here to make false promises. I didn't come to strike a deal with you. If I had intended for that, you will say that the 13th Amendment isn't enough and ask for 13 plus. But I didn't come here for that. My primary goal is to build a government that earns the trust of all the people in the North, South and the East. Governments in Sri Lanka have always been formed against a community. Governments of the South were formed against the North. Sinhalese governments were formed against the Tamil community. My primary focus is to put an end to these divisive politics. Our aspiration is to establish a proper government in this country for the first time, one that wins the trust of all the people, whether from the North, South or East, Sinhalese, Tamil, Muslim, Burgher or Malay. A government that earns the trust of everyone has the responsibility to restore the rights of all its people. A deal is not coupled with such a responsibility. They are often focused on securing votes first and fulfilling promises later. After the election, they give you a blank check, which can be used or discarded. I'm not here to make a deal. Let's build a government together. Let's sit around the same table and find real solutions. Those will be the solutions that are successful.
Anru Kumar Disanayake expressed views on the fisheries issue in the north.
Fishermen in Jaffna should be able to fish in their own waters without fear or suspicion. When you go out fishing in the northern seas, your nets and gear are destroyed by Indian trawlers. We will ensure your freedom to engage in fishing activities in the northern seas. We are not a government that will be subservient to anyone. We are a government that likes strong diplomatic relations, but we must have ownership over what is ours. We are going to create a government that will cater to those needs. Is it not the responsibility of the people of Jaffna to support us in this endeavor?
Anru Kumar Disanayake also addressed the people at the Kilnochi Cooperative Cultural Hall yesterday.
Previously, many governments formed were rejected by the people of the North, but this time, vote for the compass. We can all succeed together. We are not building a government for ministers, MPs or presidents to lead luxurious lives by squandering and stealing public wealth. We are building a government to give a better life for everyone in the North, East and South of this country.
Anru Kumar Disanayake met with former MP of ITAC and Managing Director of Udayan newspaper E. Sarvana Bhavan in Jaffna.
There have been attacks on Udayan's office before. Some journalists have been killed. On various occasions, governments that have come into power were urged to conduct investigations. But these investigations have never been carried out. The National People's Power government will conduct investigations into all political killings that have occurred in both the north and the south of Sri Lanka without any discrimination.
Meanwhile, independent presidential candidate Ranil has raised concerns about the reforms the National People's Power aims to implement.
A Puluan Sri Lanka rally organised in support of independent presidential candidate Ranil Wickremesinghe was held in Morawaka, Deniaya today.
මගේ මිත්‍ර අනුර කුමාර මැතිතුමා ඌ කියන්නේ මගේ යාළුවා.
My friend Anru Kumar Disanayake. Do not jeer at him, he is my friend. He had said this in Kalanir on the 4th of September. We cannot go to the market with our 3.8 million. We are not moving out of this market. Therefore, we will create a program for our industrialists and entrepreneurs to move out of this. He is also speaking about increasing exports. It is very good, Parliamentarian Anura, that you are taking our path. But there is one issue. Your manifesto says that free trade agreements will be abolished. Free trade agreements are needed for exports. This is a funny thing. He says that he is taking this path while tying himself down with chains. Not only that, I presented the Economic Transformation Bill in Parliament to create an export economy in this country. Parliamentarian Sunil Adunetti, the one who has holes in his vest, went to the Supreme Court against it. He wears a fishnet vest and does not wear lace vests like us. That is what happened. He and their economic advisor Harshana Surya Peruma had filed a case saying that the bill disregards alternative imports and that it caters more to an export and investment-based economy, and that violates Article 3 and Article 4 of the Constitution. Anura says that we are promoting export industries. Handunetti says, no, I can't do that. I have holes in my vest. You must be in the import industry. Not only that, they have also said Section 37 of the draft bill provides foreign investors with the same concessions afforded to local investors and provides equal rights to foreign and local investors, and therefore it violates Articles 3, 4 and 14 of the Constitution. They are saying do not treat foreign investors like you treat local investors. They are saying throw them aside. Will they come to our country if we treat them like that? I would like to ask my friend Andra Dissanayaka, since he will be here tomorrow, please clarify these contradictions that I mentioned. We too would like to know about it. The JVP is going one way and the National People's Power is going another way. They don't know which way the compass is spinning. The National People's Power is saying that they will usher change. What is the change that you are going to bring? I looked at all 232 pages and there is no change. We are the ones who will bring the change. We have changed the economy and we are here to create an export economy in this country. Although they have 232 pages, there is nothing in there about the future. I would like if Parliamentarian Andra Kumara Dissanayaka clarifies these matters tomorrow. That is my special request from him. Puluwan Sri Lanka is a program that will change this country. It will change the economy, the society and politics. You cannot embark on a new political journey with people who ran away saying that they cannot accept the responsibility of the country. They want to run away again.
අනුර කුමාර දිසානායක මන්ත්‍රීතුමා හෙට අපිට මේ කරුණු පැහැදිලි කරලා දෙන්න ඕන. ඒකයි මම එතුමාගෙන් කරන විශේෂ ඉල්ලීම කියලා කියන්න කැමතියි. ඒත් පුළුවන් ශ්‍රී ලංකා කියන්නේ රට වෙනස් කරන වැඩසටහනක්. ආර්ථිකය, සමාජය, දේශපාලනය. අලුත් තැනකට අපි යන්න ඕනේ. මේ රටේ වගකීම බාර ගන්න බෑ කියලා දිව්වේ අය එක්ක අලුත් දේශපාලනයක් ඇති කරන්න බෑ. ආපහු දුවන්ට ඕන වෙලා තියෙනවා.
Several factions that support Ranil Wickremesinghe also expressed their views at the rally.
I saw the manifesto of the Samagi Jana Balawege was launched a week ago. They went to the temple of the Tooth Relic and presented the manifesto to the Mahanayaka Thera, who were present at the event to hand over this manifesto. Accompanying opposition leader Sajith Premadasa was former Minister Professor G.L. Piris, Minister Nalaka Godahewa, Dayasiri Jayasekara, Champika Ranawaka and Dilan Pereira. These are the people who went to the temple of the sacred Tooth Relic to present their manifesto. The day before yesterday, another manifesto was launched by the other group of the SJB. Harsha De Silva, Eran Vikramaratne and Kabir Hashim launched another manifesto in Colombo. The SJB has split into pieces today. One group has one manifesto while the other group has a separate manifesto. The SJB is in pieces today, and just like the President said, it is not a question of whether the SJB is going to win this time. The question is whether the SJB will end up being here, the 4th or the 5th. The question for Ranil Wickremesinghe is how much of a margin will he win by?
Ranil Wickremesinghe මැතිතුමාට තියෙන්නේ පළවෙනියා වෙන්නේ ඡන්ද කීයකින්ද කියන එක ලෙන්ත් පිටින් දිලා දිනන්නේ කීයකින්ද කියන එක විතරයි Ranil Wickremesinghe මැතිතුමාට තියෙන්නේ.
Will we fall in the same pit that we fell in the dark while walking in broad daylight? On the 21st, the decision on if the country will go forward with Ranil Wickremesinghe for another 5 years will be made. If the wrong decision is made, you will be back on the street with a short period of time. Think back and remember how hard it was for all of us. Therefore, all of us must make a very important decision in the future.
The 78th anniversary of the United National Party was celebrated today at the Sirikota UNP party headquarters.
United National Party Deputy Leader Ruwan Wijewardena, Deputy Leader Akila Viraj Karyavasan, General Secretary Palitharanga Bandara, National Secretary Ravi Karunanayaka and others celebrated the UNP anniversary today.
The United National Party, founded in 1946 and prominent in the Palm Court House, has made significant contributions to the country. When the United National Party collapsed, the country also experienced a decline. When the United National Party rose, so did the country. Hence, the UNP's contribution to the country is significant. The United National Party consistently had an opinion. That opinion was always prominently expressed. This time, even with just one seat, the United National Party and its leader managed to achieve success in terms of their views, policies and plans. That is why he has become the Prime Minister and is expected to become the President. Today we celebrate the 78th anniversary. Therefore, the UNP continuously evolves itself and embraces new members and remains a forward-moving force.
Presidential candidate of the Samagi Jana Balawegya, Sarath Fonseka, says that the only option for Sri Lanka is not a political combination between Ranil Wickremesinghe and Anurakkumar Dissanayake.
Another rally in the series of public rallies organised by the Samagi Jana Balawegya for the presidential election was held this afternoon in Nahaliyagoda.
අපි හැමෝම දන්නවා දෙන්නම එකට ඩීල් නිසා තමයි අනුරකුමාර දිසානායකට තැපැල් ඡන්දෙට ඉස්සෙල්ලා රාජ්‍ය මාධ්‍ය වලින් කතා කර.
We all know that both of them are making deals together. Anurakkumar Dissanayake has been able to address the public through state media because of these deals. Have you ever heard of a president who is a presidential candidate accepting anarchy? In the history of our country, he has already said that he will lose. I would like to mention one thing. If a minor faction of the UNP or the SLPP is considering voting for Ranil Wickremesinghe, I urge them to not waste their vote. Use that vote to support the telephone symbol and elect a Samagi Jana Balawegya and a Samagi Jana Sandhane government that will build the country. The Ranil Wickremesinghe Anurakkumar Dissanayake political combination is not the sole option for the country but the people-centric Samagi Jana Balawegya and the Samagi Jana Sandhane who understand the struggles and sorrows of the people of the country. We will take the necessary steps to develop the mining industry in the Ratnapura district. We will ensure that mining activities receive the necessary approvals to operate in an environmentally friendly manner. You should know this. MP Varuna Liyanage knows this very well. When the mining industry in this area was at risk of being sold to foreign multinational companies, my team and I raised our voices in Parliament to prevent that from happening. We are committed to developing the rubber industry and export agriculture crop plantations. Following our victory on the 21st, we will establish a special task force in the Ratnapura district. It will be the President's responsibility to ensure the development of the Ratnapura district. As the first step, we will open 8 factories in all 8 electorates. As the second step, we will do the same for the 18 divisional secretariats. Everyone knows that during Ranil's tenure, all the factories in Ratnapura were closed down and relocated to foreign countries. I want to assure you that during our tenure, we will establish new factories to develop the Ratnapura district.
පිටරටට හකුලාගෙන ගියා. අපේ යුගය තුල පිටරට ගිය කර්මාන්ත ශාලාත් අලුත් කර්මාන්ත ශාලාත් රත්නපුර දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ දියුණුව උදෙසා ස්ථාපනය කරනවා කියන එක මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ කියන්න කැමතියි.
Several factions and members of parliament who support Sajith Premadasa also addressed the rally.
මේ රටේ ජනතාව 30ක් එළියට දාපු රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ
Ranil Wickremesinghe, who was rejected by the people of this country 30 times, took power through a mob in parliament and became the president. He has since distanced himself from that mob and is now trying to become the president through the people's mandate. However, he is now engaging in other tactics, realizing that he cannot get away with his previous actions. Currently, Ranil Wickremesinghe is claiming that Sajith did not take the opportunity given to him, but who missed the opportunity given to the UNP by passing it to Sarath Fonseka in 2010, who stepped aside, passing over the opportunity to Maithripala Sirisena in 2015. But don't forget that the election on the 21st is not just an election. Don't get swayed by trends. Don't repeat the same mistakes made in 2019. We are seeing a trend now. We are seeing people wearing the same t-shirt flying from abroad. This is not the compass. This is the JVP. The question is not whether if it is the NPP or the JVP. We should all keep in mind that they are the same people in a new guise. These individuals may come to vote but will leave the country the very very next day. Are people from England, Canada, America trying to come and stay here? This trend seems to mislead the innocent people of our country.
Presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Namal Rajapaksa has pledged to address and rectify mistakes from the past.
A public rally organized in support of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna's presidential candidate Namal Rajapaksa was held in Bulletin today.
We are creating a government for the youth, a government designed for your child. As someone who is of similar age, we understand the concerns of elderly parents regarding their children. We are building a government that your child will understand and connect with. We recognize that frustrations can lead to switching parties or seeking alternatives. We understand the heartbreak and frustration and acknowledge our own flaws. Let us address these issues and strengthen our efforts. We are committed to a policy that suits the country. We are committed to a policy that suits this country. This is your SLF. This is your SLPP, a party built by the common people. I invite all parents, young people and those who have felt disillusioned to join us. Hearts break not with those who are disliked, but with those who are loved.
Parliamentarian Thisakuti Arachi had this to say.
Arundika became independent, but why? Arundika left us and went to Ranil, attended a meeting in Kandy, and then rushed to our Puttalam meeting the same day. Shortly after, he returned to Ranil. This back and forth behavior shows a lack of commitment. When we visited Puttalam, it was told the people that there is no place for those who escape with money for bar permits. The port tour has once again become an uncorrupt camp. That's why we advised not to engage in politics with the port tour unless committed to it. These committees in the villages Bandimama and Dingimama expressed their dissatisfaction with Arundika and advised against setting up an office for him. They even discouraged sending buses for his meetings. Arundika was ashamed. He became independent, but now he is claiming that he will return when Namal is elected. Someone who is not part of the election campaigns doesn't have to be with us after the elections.
State Minister Arundika Fernando, who announced in Parliament yesterday that he will serve as an independent Member of Parliament, held a media briefing at Ranil Wickramasinghe's election office.
If these alliances, which claim to be uncorrupt, cannot come together and only inflict poison in people's minds, that's why I said the two main political factions, Ranil Wickramasinghe's team and Sajith Premadasa's team, should unite in this presidential election. But don't misunderstand this. We are not afraid of the JVP. However, the JVP is trying to win by sugarcoating old ideas, presenting them under a new guise. No, I have absolutely no hope of joining the Samagijana Balawege. I was talking about their unison. Our request to Sajith Premadasa is join with a future leader this country needs. The current incumbent has brought the country to a better place to some extent. We've also wondered why the focus seems to be only on Sajith Premadasa and Anurukumara Disanayaka. Sometimes the mistake made by the president is that what is in his mind is not what comes out of his mouth. That's unfortunate to both him and us. So I believe there is no need to focus too much on these other candidates. The president is already in the lead. Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna is putting a lot of effort, with organizers, ministers and parliamentarians working diligently. However, we are not seeing the same level of support from the United National Party. Despite being a large party with many organizers, the UNP's support has been less visible. I'm not complaining, they are with us. But there is a financial burden for the organizers in an election. I urge them to step up and lend their support. We only have 15 days left. No, I don't understand. We need the party secretary Palitharanga Bandara's support for the Puttalam district. But for some reason, he has now been sidelined. That's what I'm saying. We need his support for this.
The president yesterday removed several state ministers who pledged their support to Namal Rajapaksa. State Minister of Ports and Aviation Services Namal Rajapaksa, State Minister of Power and Energy Indika Anuruddha, State Minister of Agriculture Mohan Priyadarshana de Silva and State Minister of Highways Siripala Gamlath have been officially removed from their positions with immediate effect. Mohan Priyadarshana de Silva and Siripala Gamlath expressed views on the matter today.
I was given this position by the party. It was not a position granted by the president. The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna appointed me to these roles. Therefore, I am standing by the party's decision. I am not worried about losing this position because of the party's stance. I am committed to the spirit of the people who voted for me. Even though we say we appointed him, the president seems to have forgotten this. It doesn't matter if you and I remember it. The president must remember it too. The fact remains that he was appointed by the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna. I want to make it clear that at this time we are working in accordance with the decision made by our party to protect its integrity and secure its leadership. As someone who stands with the people, I believe this situation will ultimately be disadvantageous to the president. All those who support us and stand with us voted to appoint the president based on this decision. I am simply asking if it is fair to expel us in this manner while the president is still in office. Had our party not made that decision at the time, none of us would have voted for Ranil. We adhered to the party's decision and did this even without voting for Dallas Alhab Peruma, despite being recommended by our own party.
Independent presidential candidate Field Marshal Sarath Fonseka says that some leaders protect thieves to secure their leadership positions.
A public meeting was organized in Matale today in support of Field Marshal Sarath Fonseka.
The members who hold higher positions in parties are all thieves, and the people who suit these thieves are made leaders of these parties. These leaders protect the thieves in order to protect their position of power. The political landscape of this country has become distorted. In order to better the country, a right leader must be appointed. Promises have been made, and if you are deceived by these promises, you will be in trouble again. When choosing a leader, look at his background. See if he is a man who can do a job well. Take a look at his past, and do not appoint leaders based on mere fantasies. All of your lives have fallen apart. You are all unable to afford 3 meals a day. Parents starve in order to feed their children. This is the situation the country's bankrupt rulers became indebted to the world, took on a huge debt for unprofitable projects. The people did not benefit from any of it, while the leaders lived comfortably. They extorted, bribed and became millionaires. You people pay for that. You need to understand that. If you all keep playing this way, you all will never overcome this mess.
Deputy Postmaster General Rajitha K. Ranasinghe says that over 80% of postal votes have been cast to date.
The first phase of postal voting for the presidential election concluded today. Voters who are unable to cast their postal votes today have been given the opportunity to submit their votes at district election offices in the districts where their workplaces are situated on the 11th and 12th September. The Election Commission said that the 3-day postal voting period proceeded smoothly and without incident.
මේ වන විට විශාල ප්‍රමාණයක් භාවිතා කරන ලද ඡන්ද පත්‍රිකා අඩංගු ලියාපදිංචි රක්ෂිත පැකට්ටු තැපැල් දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව වෙත ලැබිලා ඒවා බාර අරගෙන ඒ වගේම ඒ ආධාර ලිපිනය සහිත පැකට්ටු ඒ තේරීම් බාර නිලධාරීන් වෙත බෙදා හැරීමේ කටයුතුත් මේ වෙන විට කරමින් පවතිනවා. මේ වෙන විට වාර්තා වෙන ආකාරයට 80%කට වැඩි ප්‍රමාණයක් ඡන්ද භාවිතා වෙලා තියෙනවා වගේම ලියාපදිංචි රක්ෂිත පැකට්ටු ප්‍රදේශවල තැපැල් කාර්යාලවලට බාර දීලා තියෙනවා.
Postal voting activities were conducted on the 4th of September, 5th and 6th. In the Colombo district, postal voting exceeded 95%. No acts of violence or significant incidents have been reported. For those who were unable to cast their postal votes, additional days, the 11th of September and 12th, have been allocated at the district election office.
ඒ අය සඳහා දිස්ත්‍රික් මැතිවරණ කාර්යාලයේදී 11 සහ 12 යන දින දෙක වෙන් කර තිබෙනවා.
Leap of the day.
National Youth Organizer of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress High Command member, Attorney at Law Arif Samsudeen, pledged his support to the National People's Power today. He made this statement during a media conference called in Kalmune.
Anurakumara Disanayaka avargalai நாங்கள்
I have made a decision to support Anurakumara Disanayaka as the National Youth Organizer and member of the High Command of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress. I have informed the Secretary of the party via WhatsApp that I will resign from these posts and have sent the resignation letter to him in this regard. At a time like this, political cultures should change. I stand for the victory of Anurakumara Disanayaka without any expectations from the general public. We are concerned about the members of parliament who voted for the 20th constitutional amendment. We also have in mind that the management of the party did not reach a proper decision on this.
பாராளுமன்ற உறுப்பினர்களின் செயற்பாடுகள் கட்சியில் ஒழுக்க ரீதியான பிரச்சனைகளை உருவாக்கி வருகிறது என்பதை நாங்கள் இங்கு கூறியே ஆகும்.
Wanted, a leader, a Sri Lankan with the courage to lead a resplendent nation and her people into an exciting future. A Sri Lankan with intelligence and grace. A leader with a clean heart and a clean record. A leader in love with Sri Lanka. A leader this nation deserves. The presidential election 2024. Sri Lanka, you decide. Newsfirst, we report.
Every dream needs a power source. For over 40 years, LTL Holdings has powered the Sri Lankan dream, turning your potential into energy, your vision into reality. We are a nation of dreamers, waking up when the lights come on. Opening our eyes to a future full of cleaner energy, one where every Sri Lankan is in charge. Sri Lanka's biggest IPO opens on the 10th of September. LTL Holdings, power to the future.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Welcome back to the news. In more stories from here at home, President Ranil has appointed 4 new judges to the Court of Appeal. The President's Media Division said that former judges of the High Court KMGH Kulatunga, Damit Totavatta, R.A. Ranaraja and former Senior Deputy Solicitor General MCLB Gopalava were appointed as the new judges to the Court of Appeal. The appointments were made under Article 107 of the Constitution. Meanwhile, President Ranil Wickremesinghe has appointed Anura Vidanagamage as the new governor of the Uwa province. The appointment was made due to the resignation of the former governor AJM Muzammil. Last night, 20 Sri Lankans who were rescued from the grip of Chinese underworld groups in a terrorist-controlled area of Myanmar arrived safely to Sri Lanka.
Their release was secured a few days ago and they were subsequently transported to Sri Lanka from Bangkok, Thailand, facilitated by the International Organization for Migration.
For nearly a year, Newsfirst has been reporting on the harrowing plight of over 50 Sri Lankan youth forcibly detained by an armed group on the Myanmar-Thailand border. These young individuals were lured to Myanmar with promises of IT-related jobs, only to be coerced into various cybercrimes. The conditions they faced were brutal. Chinese criminal syndicates subjected them to severe punishments, including beating them for failing to meet daily targets. Such torture was a routine part of their ordeal. Throughout this past year, the parents of these youth, along with the International Organization for Migration, the Myanmar and Thai embassies, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and numerous others have been tirelessly fighting for their release. Their relentless efforts bore fruit when 20 Sri Lankans were safely repatriated from Myanmar following the earlier rescue of 8 others. These successes were the result of coordinated efforts and unwavering determination. The parents of these youth, undeterred by sun or rain, have been at the forefront of this battle, advocating non-stop for their loved ones' freedom. Their courage and persistence have been instrumental in these rescue operations. Under the leadership of Capital Maharaja Group and Gammatha, the Bali Process International Conference was held in Sri Lanka. This event, attended by ministers, diplomats, representatives of international organizations and regional business leaders from the Asia-Pacific countries, further galvanized support for the cause. A few months ago, a significant meeting took place in Galle, bringing together diplomats from the Bali Process Government and Business Forum, representatives of non-governmental international organizations, and the families of those still held in Myanmar. During this meeting, the parents implored the IOM and the organizations to intensify their efforts to save their children.
Please do something to save our children as soon as possible and ban this.
You have my personal commitment and my organisation's commitment that we will have the conversations after today and see what we can do to help you.
The IOM, a key player in these rescue missions, have been instrumental in bringing back the 8 individuals earlier and the 20 who arrived yesterday. Their dedicated work unit has been crucial in these operations.
අපි වෙනුවෙන් කැප් වෙලා වැඩ කරපු රාජ්‍ය ආයතන මියන්මාර් තානාපති කාර්යාලය තායිලන්ත තානාපති කාර්යාලය ඇතුළු එන්න යන තෙක්ම හැමදේම බලපු IOM ආයතනය IOM ආයතනයත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධ වෙලා කර බාලි ප්‍රොසෙස් වැඩසටහන ඒ වගේම ඒ තත්ත්වෙ මුදව ගන්න දෙමව්පියෝ ගොඩක් උත්සාහ දරුවා ගොඩක් වෙහෙස මහන්සි වුණා. ඒ දෙමව්පියන්ටත් මම ස්තුතිය පුද කරන්න ඕන. අපි වෙනුවෙන් ගොඩක් දේවල් කරාට අපි වගේම අපිටත් වැඩි දුක් විඳින ඉන්නවා තවත් 33 දෙනෙක්. ඒ අපිට ලබා දුන්නේ සැකසුම් වගේම යම් සැකසුම් රජය විසින් රජනෝන සංවිධානය විසින් ලබා දීලා ඒ අයගේ ජීවිතත් බේරා ගැනීමට හැකි ඉක්මනින් කටයුතු කරන කියලා මම රජයෙන් වායාචනයක් කරනවා. එතකොට තමයි අපිට සතුටු වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
Speaking to Newsfirst, the IOM also outlined the steps and plans taken to ensure that similar incidents do not occur in the future.
Currently, the Ministry of Defence and the National Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force leads the counter-trafficking portfolio in Sri Lanka. They have the mandate. So we do collaborate with the Defence Ministry and the task force, and we do closely collaborate with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs when it comes to trafficking issues, especially when we are talking about the Bali process meeting which took place in Sri Lanka recently. I think advocacy is very much important. Awareness is key, of course, training, capacity building, and not only that, I think people should do their own research before migrating for employment. So currently there is a national strategic action plan to monitor and combat human trafficking. The Defence Ministry as well as the National Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force are very much in charge of implementing this action plan.
However, the struggle is far from over. More than 30 young Sri Lankans remain trapped in Myanmar, enduring various forms of torture. Their plight continues to weigh heavily on the hearts of their families and supporters. We will not forget them even for a moment. We strongly believe that all parties will come forward to save all of them and bring them back home.
Parliamentarian Mujibur Rahman filed a complaint at the Criminal Investigations Department today.
MP Mujibur Rahman filed the complaint at the Criminal Investigation Department based on a statement made by him in Parliament recently, alleging that a conspiracy is orchestrated to use a suspect from the Easter Sunday attacks who is in remand custody to falsely accuse him of being involved in the attack.
A minister in the current government and 2 of his associates, one of whom is a person previously involved in financial scams named Aslam, went and met a person who has been accused of crimes and imprisoned for 5 years. They coerced this person into making a statement against me and proposed granting him certain privileges in exchange for using this against our political election campaign. These proposals were reported to me. Despite these reports, I made a statement in Parliament and today filed a complaint at the Criminal Investigation Department. In my complaint, I have clearly said that these individuals met with the suspect, pressured him into revealing absurd and false information against me to sabotage our political election campaign and sought to have me arrested and imprisoned. This has been deliberately implemented by the government as a part of a planned conspiracy. I believe that the Criminal Investigation Department will act very quickly in this regard.
මම විශ්වාස කරනවා අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව මේ සම්බන්ධව ඉතා කඩිනමින් ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙයි කියලා.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
A pivotal weekend awaits. 6 undefeated talents stand tall. Prepare for an eye-catching spectacle. Who will emerge victorious and who will face the heartbreaking farewell? Don't miss the drama.
Lanka's Got Talent.
tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. on Sirasa TV.
Sri Lanka Customs has recorded a total revenue of 1 trillion rupees so far in 2024. The President's Media Division says that this puts the country on track to achieve the International Monetary Fund's revenue target of 1.5 trillion rupees for the year. Quoting the Director General of Customs, Sarath, the President's Media Division said that providing the Customs Department the opportunity to operate independently without being subjected to any external influences is the reason for this achievement. It is noted that for the first time in history, the customs revenue for the past 8 months has reached a record of 1 trillion rupees. According to the guidelines of the IMF, the expected revenue target for the year 2024 is 1.534 trillion rupees.
Sri Lanka's Finance Ministry has warned that a standoff with the IMF could delay financial aid for years.
The Finance Ministry of Sri Lanka has issued a statement addressing recent misconceptions regarding the country's debt restructuring process and its engagement with the International Monetary Fund. The statement, titled Clarifications on Debt Restructuring and Debt Sustainability Analysis, emphasizes that any country has the right to challenge the IMF's debt sustainability assessment if it disagrees with the findings. However, it said that a standoff in such a scenario would only delay an agreement on a financing program for several months, if not years. The ministry refuted claims that Sri Lanka failed to produce its own debt sustainability analysis during debt restructuring negotiations, attributing such commentary to a lack of understanding of standard debt restructuring mechanisms. The statement highlighted that the IMF cannot proceed with a financing program if a country's debt is deemed unsustainable. While these debates may be of academic interest, the ministry stressed the importance of timely and pragmatic action by government authorities responsible for citizens' well-being. The ministry noted that Sri Lanka has previously adjusted IMF program targets midway through engagements. However, the current economic reform program supported by the IMF marks the first time that restructuring is a major pillar of an IMF-backed reform initiative in Sri Lanka. This makes amendments to key program parameters more complex. The Finance Ministry emphasized the importance of the IMF's independent debt sustainability analysis within the sovereign debt restructuring framework. However, it also highlighted that both debtor countries and creditors develop their own DSAs. From the beginning of Sri Lanka's debt restructuring process in June 2022, the country prepared its own DSA models with the help of debt advisors and the IMF staff team. These models have been crucial in shaping Sri Lanka's negotiating strategy. Sri Lanka uses its DSA models to craft offers to various creditors and to evaluate proposals received, ensuring that the teams align with constraints set by the IMF's DSA. Similarly, Sri Lanka's creditors develop their own DSA models to guide their negotiating positions. The Finance Ministry noted that while both Sri Lanka and its creditors rely on their respective DSA models for negotiations, the IMF's DSA serves a distinct role in determining the terms of sovereign debt restructuring with specific creditors or groups of creditors.
A US-donated Beechcraft aircraft is set to reach Sri Lanka next week.
The Beechcraft King Air 360ER aircraft, donated by the United States to the Sri Lanka Air Force, will arrive in Sri Lanka next week. Funded by the US Department of Defense's Building Partner Capacity Program, this donation, which originated in 2019, is part of a long-term collaboration with the Sri Lanka Air Force. This advanced aircraft is designed to enhance Sri Lanka's capabilities in search and rescue operations, drug interdiction, and combating trafficking and smuggling. The $19 million US government grant includes the aircraft and support services, all provided at no cost to the Sri Lanka Air Force. The Beechcraft King Air 360ER is equipped with cutting-edge technology to boost Sri Lanka's ability to patrol its waters and address maritime threats. The aircraft, manufactured by Beechcraft Textron Aviation and completed in late 2022, underwent additional upgrades, including the installation of maritime patrol sensors like radar and cameras, finalized in mid-2024. From June to August 2024, Sri Lankan Air Force personnel participated in training in Kansas and Florida to prepare for the aircraft's arrival, which is expected next week.
The Climate Challenge Hackathon launch and press conference organized by USAID Climate Adaptation Project was held in Colombo.
The press conference and the launch of the Climate Change Hackathon, a pioneering initiative aimed at finding data-driven solutions to address climate-related challenges in Sri Lanka's agriculture and fishery sectors, was held in Colombo yesterday. The program is initiated by the USAID Climate Adaptation Project.
if you do a Google search for data-driven, you'll be attacked by hundreds, if not thousands, of corporate marketing pieces trying to sell you this data-driven solution packages to help your companies and your corporations. But it's interesting because it's not a novel concept at all. It's been around since even the Paleolithic period, where I was reading an article about the people in that era using notches on stones and on bones to keep track of the different items that were traded, and then doing simple calculations to know how long those items would last their community and knowing when to go out and fetch more. So data-driven solution, potentially, but interesting that it's been around for so long. So what's new today is that these challenges in today's modern day analytical data challenges are being called on to solve so many more difficult and global problems and very complex problems.
Climate Change Hackathon was unveiled during the event, which will serve as a central hub for innovators, entrepreneurs and professionals dedicated to combating climate change.
Day 60 and the final day of the third phase of the LOLC Divi Savya program, which is being carried out for the betterment of Sri Lanka's future generation, got underway today. The LOLC Divi Savya program has successfully reached 40% of students in government schools across Sri Lanka.
Under the Divi Savya program, exercise books and stationery equipment required for a year are distributed free of charge to government schools with less than 150 students. Today's program was centered around the schools in the Colombo district. Accordingly, school bags and stationery equipment were donated this morning to students at the Udhamulla Sri Siddhartha Vidyalaya, Avarihena Vidyaloka Kanishta Vidyalaya, Siri Parakumba Vidyalaya, Sri Revata Royal College, Methodist Government Tamil School, Al Amin Vidyalaya and St. Mary's College. The Divi Savya program, which aims to distribute free exercise books and school equipment for students in all government schools with less than 150 students, will be completed today. The LOLC group is sponsoring the Divi Savya program, an initiative developed in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, dedicated to shaping a brighter future for the next generation of Sri Lanka.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight.
Thank you very much for joining us. Good night and take care.